And we're live. Hello, folks. My name is Walt, and I am normally the guy behind Hazard Studio. But today, on behalf of the BAM podcast, we are talking about Secret Empire, the latest event that just wrapped up for Marvel. Mike Lafferty apologizes. He had a nefarious plot to attend to, so he's not going to be here today. But instead, we have a fantastically evil roundtable to talk about what they did wrong, what they did right, and how we hope to never see Steve Rogers' Hydra Cap again. Starting from my left to my right, from across the pond, to give the British view of things, we have Mr. Aid Smith.
Hello.
Good to have you, sir. Next in the lineup, somewhere in the middle of the country, safe from a hurricane, we have Mr. Jacob Blackman. How are you, sir?
Glad to not be drowning and or on fire.
And special guest star today, coming in from all the way from the
Pittsburgh.
Edge Comics. What was that?
In Pittsburgh, man. Pittsburgh.
And in Pittsburgh, we have Mr. Marvin Wynn. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you? How's it going?
Living like I stole it. There's only so many lines I can pull off in this hat. So let's dive right into it. Marvel Comics shocked everybody about a year and a half ago when Steve Rogers, and if you haven't read the event, go back and read the event. This is the only spoiler pause you're going to get. So blah. So he shocked, ended up on USA Today, and when he grabbed a former comrade and threw him out of an airplane and then started Hail Hydra all over the place. So, Marvin, what are your thoughts on this?
So, I mean, I don't know if everyone remembers, if we go back, I think 3 years ago, and when Sam Wilson first took up the Shield, and I believe it was issue 6 or issue 7, he had a run-in with Misty Knight. And Misty made a comment that all of the teams had a Hydra secret agent on them. So to me, that's the start of this storyline. But I don't think it ever got to that point, and I think they just may have just dropped that entirely, because from that point, you're looking at something that could have been very interesting if you had sleeper agents in the X-Men, in the Avengers, and Alpha Flight, and all these teams. And you don't know what their actions or inactions could have done to have changed other storylines. I mean, you just came off of Civil War II that just fell apart to me again, just like Civil War did, where they had to very much turn Captain Marvel into a villain for things to play off on that. So you jump right into another storyline where you're taking another hero, turning them against everything that you've known about this character, throwing him out there and telling him he's going to say Hail Hydra and start murdering people, which is something that you shouldn't have basically your flagship character now, because Captain America, based on the Avengers movies, has replaced Spider-Man as their flagship character. When you have the character in the movies going to bat for his friend and saying that I'll never quit, I'll never stop protecting this guy, when in the comics he's completely doing something in the opposite direction.
Yeah, it just seems like at this point they were using a very big plot device shoehorn to get things the way they wanted. And let's talk about how this even started. I mean, this when they were into Civil War II and a lot of the things that happened and caused by Civil War II. You had Kobik, the living manifestation of the cosmic cube, making all these minor changes. That's what you find out later, that's what started this this big event. So it seems like when Marvel wants to have something that shakes up their universe, they always go to some big cosmic powered entity to make things happen instead of making things happen on a small scale.
Right.
Like, how is the world totally different from the death of Uncle Ben? Mm-hmm. Something that insignificant to the world changed the world by producing, Spider-Man. But instead, it just seems like Marvel always wants to go with a Deus Ex Machina of, well, we want to shake things up. Here's magic. What do you guys think about that?
As an excuse for why Cap becomes a Hydra agent, it's perfectly acceptable. It's better to say, the Cosmic Cube did it, because at least there's a reason for it, rather than saying, oh, well, he was convinced to do it because they threatened his dog and he was decided to become a Hydra agent and that was it. So at least there's a good enough reason for it in that respect. But considering the guy who wrote it said it's not going to be the Cosmic Cube, it's not going to be the Cosmic Cube. Oh, it was the Cosmic Cube. Just seems to be a complete waste of time, utter waste of time.
If you look at stuff like what DC Comics and the video games did with Injustice, I mean, you could see Superman cracking from that storyline and progressively getting worse because of the fact that somebody murdered the love of his life, and taking on a Batman-esque type view of things. This can never happen again. I'll lock it down so this can never happen again. I could picture, in a sense, something so grand like another 9/11 or something happening that could push Cap over the edge, and making something like that.
We've seen him walk away from Captain America persona when he became Nomad, when he became the US agent in the black and red and white costume. That was cool. That was good. That gave him a reason, because he was deciding he didn't want to fight for the values of America as he saw it at that point in time. So he kind of removed himself one step away. He was still doing stuff for justice, but he wasn't doing it for what was going on. This could have been something similar, but they wanted to, again, they typical event stuff. Marvel events have to be, like you say, world-spanning events, and I can't believe that at the end of the day, everything that was put into place at the beginning, like you were saying about the agents in the super teams, this stuff seems to be like, okay, they mention a load of stuff and then they forget about it after 6 issues and hope people don't remember, because I know they were saying on the forums that the stuff about the schools teaching the correct Hydra view of things. And that apparently still existed. That isn't going to go away. So what is it going to be? The next 6 months, they're going to round up all the Hydra school teachers, and they're getting removed. It just seems that stuff is never going to probably be mentioned again after this is done. It's like, oh yeah, do you remember when Cat was a baddie? Oh yeah, it was bad. Oh yeah, let's go on and carry on. There's going to be no other repercussions apart from that, probably.
All right, and then you have the point that the Hydra Cap. They just. I don't know if anyone read Deadpool, where they just offhandedly mentioned that they arrested him.
Yeah, that's right. He just goes into custody, doesn't he? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So in other words, they can bring him back whenever they want to.
Right.
That's the thing. You never kill a bad guy off nowadays. Not like the old days when every end of every story the Joker would disappear into the ocean and go, "Well, we never found the body." This Cap, you keep all your bad guys alive.
How about it, Jacob? Thoughts on this?
Well, some of the issues I had were, looking at the fact that this was a long span conspiracy. He was supposed to have been indoctrinated into Hydra in his youth through his parents. Why did they wait to activate him in the modern day? Why didn't they why did they activate him in World War II, when it would have meant something? They had no ability to know that he would crash in a plane, survive, get thawed out, become an Avenger, become this world recognized hero, and then they could enact their plan.
I think that's the problem with the Cosmic Cube thing, because basically, unless I say I've only skimmed stuff, so I only generally know what I've read, which is that apparently the original timeline was that Hydra actually won World War II. The Allies used the Cosmic Cube to set it, so they actually won. So technically speaking, this Cap apparently didn't go into the ice. He has existed throughout the entire time as a agent of thingy. So again, it gets very confusing, because then you go, okay, so this alternate timeline where he has been a Hydra agent. Do you mean all those adventures he's had for the last 40 years? He just decided to play along. I'm really happy to do, and duff up all the Hydra agents throughout the entire time. Or has that been altered as well? Because again, you don't see the repercussions. You don't see the idea that this cosmic cube, the cosmic cube should have changed all those things. And instead of having it just like Cap turns up and says, "I'm a bad guy now." If the cosmic cube was being used, and if they actually used the cosmic cube and said they were going to do it, you could have had all this reality warping stuff actually visibly being shown in the comics, rather than saying it's not the cosmic cube. Actually, it was a cosmic cube.
Either way you look at it, it is a bad setup. It is a bad story.
Marvin, what do you think about that? Now, you said that you had talked about from a fan perspective, but you also wanted to talk about this from a creator perspective. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Right. So, to me, as a fan, this would have completely and totally turned me off the Marvel. Especially if I'm coming in from the movie perspective, I'm expecting to see Captain America as this shining, bright symbol of hope, and someone who's beyond reproach that wouldn't do these things. And I'm reading where this guy is pretty much a fascist, murders his friends, doesn't care, and then begs off when he's challenged by another. He's like a villain on a wrestling show where I'll attack you from behind all day long, but if I have to face you, I'll pretend like I'm going in the ring and then I'll run away. I want to go hide behind his mom or the other people in Hydra. But looking at it from a creator perspective, this is a really good series to read, to know what not to do during a crossover. You don't countermand your own character's personality, and you don't write in a MacGuffin into the story to get them out of it. So to me, the kind of story that they crafted was, you got someone who is in a room with no windows, painted himself into a corner, and then you write in, oh, but there's a window open right there so he can get out. Is essentially what they did at the end of the story when the cubic version of Captain America just appears out of nowhere and proceeds to just smash the Hydra Cap to pieces with Thor's hammer. That's a major writer writing a character out of a situation that there was no way they could get themselves out of. And one of the things I was really looking forward to is, how are they going to get out of this without making it cheap? And they made it cheap. And when you're looking at it as a creator, I say that don't do this. Don't undermine your characters. Don't put your characters in a position that they can't get out of it within the context of the story, or the character is able to figure something out based on their own personality. And this was not figured out based on anybody's personality. It's an open window in a room that didn't exist.
That's a great analogy. Now, if we look at the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they did the Agents of Hydra storyline, do you think that that would have been a better way to do this? Going back to what Marvin was saying 3 years ago, when Sam Wilson had his conversation with Misty, they said, "Hey, we have all these sleeper agents." How if it was really a secret empire? Wouldn't it have been better to have this empire come from underneath the earth, like basically from out from hiding, and then take control and say, hey, no, we're not the bad guys. We're just here to protect everybody, right. Just like they did in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then have the heroes basically creating a resistance movement to expose them for what they really are. I mean, I think that would have been a much better execution than to what we ended up with.
One problem with that, though.
What's that?
It's Secret Invasion again, without the Skrulls.
That's true. That's true. Yep.
And it's like we've done it already. So
yeah, that's another issue I had. They're in every team. They're all over. It's like, we did this.
Mm-hmm.
And if you technically, if you want to follow that thread even further back and get to the sweater that you actually pulled it from, they did this I think it was in the 60s, the 50s or the 60s, where Cap was mind controlled and became a Nazi.
Mm.
So I mean,
It's like again, so like Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion had that really cool reveal either at the end of the first issue, or second issue, where all of the heroes got off the scroll ship, and you go, "Oh my god! Okay, does this mean Spider-Man's not been Spider-Man for the last 5 years? Mockingbird's there. Is Mockingbird not dead? What happens to that? Oh, they all turned out to be Skrull agents as well, and it wasn't actually real at all, and nothing really happened. It didn't really matter at all. It's just waste of time. It's and like you're saying." The issues, there's too many issues in this. Crossovers used to be 6 issues. Now they're 8 or 9 issues. This one's 10 with an Amiga issue coming up as well. Plus, you get a gazillion crossover issues that have got Secret Empire on it. And so if you're a collector and you'll want to collect everything, you buy the Secret Empire issue, you go through it and go, oh, did that have anything to do with Secret Empire? No, shat all to do with it, nothing at all. Deadpool mentions maybe, oh, well, there's a thing going on. That's it. One line of dialogue, and that makes it a Secret Empire issue. So you just spend hundreds of dollars on something to have the entire thing. And at the end of the day, it gets reset back to 0. And Gib goes, oh, Cap, it wasn't really Cap after all. It was just a bad Cap. Okay, everybody pat him on the back and let him carry on. It's just pointless. It's the same as the Hawkeye thing, which annoyed the shit out of me. Is Hawkeye shoots Bruce Banner in the head with a bow and arrow, and everyone goes, "Oh well, it could have been bad." I go, yeah, carry on, Hawkeye. You're not a murderer. It's fine. He might have been a bad man. Off you pop. And it's like, surely Hawkeye should be in really deep crap, and everyone should turn their back on him. And it should get. And again, if you wanted to make Hawkeye interesting and say, okay, Hawkeye knew that was the problem. Hawkeye took it into his own accord to actually kill Banner because he knew Banner was going to cause a problem. Hawkeye does a character arc where he goes and tries to redeem himself. Not everyone just goes, oh well, Hawkeye, that was very clever of you. Well done. You got a very good shot. And they give him like scoreboards and say 9 out of 10. That was fantastic. You know, it's just. I just don't know what's going to happen with this afterwards. But again, like we were saying before, for the extension of the issues we've seen, this was going to be an 8 issue, then it was going to be a 9, then it's going to be a Amiga. The stuff that apparently the Generations books are taking place literally between the 2 panels, because apparently Kobiak removes the characters, sends them off to see their other people so they can feel all redeemed and happy at the end of the issue and come back again. And some of the characters in the Generation specials aren't even in that scene. It's just like, what's that about? So it seems to be like, oh shit, we forgot to put the Generations link in it. Right, another issue, slap it on the end of it. We'll put it in there somewhere. We'll mention Vanishing Point because apparently that's the next big thing for Legacy. We mention it in one dialogue box, and that's all we're going to worry about. It's haphazard. It just needs to be just chucked together. I don't understand how you can plan an event and still kind of like by the time you get to the 6th issue out of 8, realizing we actually need a 9th and 10th, and we forgot to mention the big thing for the next event as well, so we better put it in there.
So we got, if we take a look at everything that's going on, we've already said that instead of a 9 or 10 issue, this should have been a 4 issue self-contained. What else could we do? Well, how do we fix the Secret Empire?
I can understand it being a 6 issue purely to be collected as a trade paperback.
So do it as like an Elseworlds or something like that, where it's just its own thing and it doesn't really.
Well, again, if you do it now, if they did it as a Cosmic Cube alternate reality, and then you've got that thing, and you go, okay, that's Age of Ultron again. So they've done that already as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, Christ's sakes, you know, I know it's kind of like brave of them to actually do it in the main Marvel universe as such, but the actual repercussions of it, I think, are just going to be completely removed. Someone seems saying, like, apparently the Scarlet Spider series is set in Las Vegas, and Las Vegas has been completely destroyed in Secret Empire, but Scarlet Spider doesn't seem to be too worried about that. It's like, how can you forget that fact? I mean, for Christ's sake, they did that in Invincible, and Invincible has kept that for going for like 30, 40 issues, and it's going completely, you know, still a massive glass desert. Get some bloody consistency. Get a big board. Yeah, we also remember the big board we had with the whiteboard that gave like the next things that are going to happen in the Marvel universe, and people going, oh, when's that plot coming up? Someone put that in their bloody Marvel offices, for Christ's sake, so they can actually read their own sodding whiteboards, because someone needs to do it.
So what you're saying is that they need to call Kevin Feige in and have him help with what they're doing, because
they just need a continuity officer or something. They need somebody that actually get on with, you know, figure out what the hell's going on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But if you,
the other problem that we have.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, please, Marvin, go ahead.
They a few years ago, they made a point of saying that they weren't going to worry about continuity, and they were going to let the writers do what they want to do. And this is where you're at now, where we're not really part of that storyline. We're just going to have one panel that says, "Hey, and Deadpool did this for Captain America," and then ignore everything else.
They carry on, yeah. The crazy thing about that is the whole continuity issue. People say, "Oh, I don't continuity. I'm not interested in continuity. It's all just load of crap. Nobody's interested. Just tell a good story." It's like, okay, so soap operas. Let's just never do continuity in soap operas. You turn on Friday, someone's dead. You turn on again Monday, and the guy's back again because they weren't worried about continuity. Don't worry about that. It's just rubbish. There has to be a consistency to it. If you want to make the world and the universe believable, stick with a bloody consistency to it that people can actually get their head around. If you're going to remove characters and make them alive in one issue and not, give us a reason for it. Don't just pop them up and say, "Oh yeah, he was dead, but now he's back."
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm totally caught in the soap opera thing. Aid, do you have a favorite soap opera?
I hate soap operas. I despise them with a passion. Again, so in the UK, we've got like 30, 40-year-old soap not in the 30, 35 years one's been going. So there's a consistency to it. You know that one character, there's one guy or two people that have actually been the same character in that show. And although there's obviously their storyline is going to be ultimately ridiculous with 1,000 divorces, marriages, deaths, happening for them 35 years, at least that character is the same character you can say from that thing. And they haven't said, "Oh, do you remember that time he owned a pub?" When did he own a pub? He never owned a pub. Yeah, he did now because we decided he owned a pub. It's just they need to do this. They need to. It's the same. Again, it's the same when Wolverine used to show up in every single Marvel comic back in the 80s and 90s. And it's like, where does this fit in with his adventures? Because in the X-Men, he's strapped to a cross in the middle of Australia, but in his own comic, he's running around in Vanderpool and he's fine. So
now that you bring that up, that's where I thought they were going in Secret Invasion. They were going to say that all these Wolverines were Skrulls. So that's why he can appear in 30 books in 1 month. And
holy crap, that's a great idea.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that Wolverine is all regenerated clones of himself.
Yeah.
That would explain why he's able to be in his own series, Avengers, X-Men, X-Force, and hell, Guardians of the Galaxy. Why not?
Right. It'd have been perfect if they would have went that way and said that, "Oh yeah, they're all Skrulls, so it's okay that he's everywhere on every team, and he's, like you said, he's tied to a cross over here, but now he's running around wearing a patch and Martypor calling himself Patch."
Oh my God! You better be careful, Marvin. It's things like this that'll get you hired at Marvel.
Well, I'll be the guy that'll create the board and get everybody to fit their characters into. It's like, well, Captain Marvel is on Jupiter right now. No, she's not. She's right here. She's in Washington D.C. She can't be on Jupiter.
Oh my God! I'm so creating this whiteboard.
Yeah, again, please, we need a continuity expert, please.
Yeah. I've said before as well, this last time I was on the podcast, I'd said that was the first month I've not had a Marvel book in my pull list for 25 years. This is now the second month I've not had a Marvel book in my pull list for 25 years. And Secret Empire was probably one of the main reasons, because all the books I did get were all Secret Empire crossovers, and they were really easy to drop if they were going to be 3 months of that. Mm-hmm. It's just like, well, I'm not that bothered about it. So the Marvel was saying about, these books are, if you want a real good pull, relaunch with an issue 1. People aren't interested in miniseries, but Secret Empire is a miniseries, and then you get all these other stuff. But they need these new jumping on points for people to come in and they can collect all this stuff. It's just as easy to just say, not interested, I'm out of it, and then you just don't go back, because it's just like, well, it's just as easy just to ignore it now. It's been 3 or 4 months since I've read Champions, whatever. I just forgot. Don't need to worry about it anymore.
So now that we've taken Mjolnir to the Secret Empire storyline, let's go through the panel. Marvin, how about you? Something that they did right and something they did wrong on Secret Empire, and then your overall thumbs up, thumbs down.
What they did right was, and it's the one part that I cheered, was the Captain America coming back and smashing the Hydra Captain America. That was probably the best scene of the whole. I probably would have paid admission just for that panel of this book. They'd just skip right to that part. If it had been issue 1 and then issue 2 is he's smashing this guy with his hammer, I'd have been fine. It would have been good. It would have been great. What they did bad was everything else between the first page of issue 1 and up until that point in the series was bad. For
That's a
as
lot
far
of
as
pages.
yeah, well, I mean, not even just the other bad parts is that you threw Ultron in the middle of that for no reason, and you gave Ultron this motivation of, well, you guys are really good at destroying yourselves, so I'll just sit back and watch. Which is Ultron the reader? Because that's what, as a reader, you're sitting there thinking that this is just the same thing they've done before. Why should I'll just wait to the end? So is this inside commentary in the book? Is the writer saying don't read this book? Because this was Ultron just sitting them at the table and telling them, I don't care what you guys do. I'll just wait to the end.
Yeah.
So I mean that those two pieces right there, Ultron uh, breaking the fourth wall and telling people not to read the book, which was probably a good idea at this point. I probably should have listened. And Cap smashing Hydra Cap with Thor's hammer. Um, as far as thumbs up, thumbs down, it's down because there's like Ultron said, there's no reason to read it. Read the first book, read the last. That's all you need.
How about it, Jacob? Something they did right, something they did wrong. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Ultimately, I have to agree with Marvin. The story was terrible, and I'm just glad it's over. Yeah, and okay. Ultimately, things that are bad. Marvel needs to stop doing big giant series back to back. We need to have the comics just be their own comics for like a year, where they're doing their own thing and not crossing over or having a big giant storyline. Just let them do their own thing. Build up to something instead of going one story into another story into another story. This is one of the reasons I can't stand Marvel anymore, is you have to get everything in order to read anything.
Aid, how about it? Something good, something bad. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
See, I can only go what I've only read reviews and so I've never read any Secret Empire at all. I completely ignored it, and this is now I think I haven't read anything crossover-wise since Secret Invasion. I've never read Siege or anything else because at the end of the day, generally speaking, it's just gonna be reset. Oh no, I did get Age of Ultron. I lie, just because I like Ultron. Anyway, I don't have a problem with the idea of Cap being evil, because that's a classic thing. It's Superman 3, for Christ's sake. We've seen it before. It's just the way they promised it wasn't going to be the Cosmic Cube, and then it was, and of course it's the Cosmic Cube. What do you mean? That was a real pisser. I think that was a pretty sly way of doing it, and there was different ways of doing it they could have done. Again, dragging on for too long, too many crossovers with other books, and it's like Secret Wars in the 80s. It was 12 issues, and it was all self-contained. Secret Wars 2 obviously had the spin-offs, but Secret Wars you could just read 12 issues, and you could figure it out and stuff. It's just like you say, it just gets so ridiculously crazy. The amount of books you need to pick up in order to try and tell, like they're saying that apparently they were saying like there's a plot something with Captain Marvel that doesn't happen in the core book and happens in their own book, and it actually applies. It's like, what the hell? How am I supposed to know that if by the time you get to issue 8 and you realize, Captain Marvel's been doing that? Oh, I didn't realize, because it's just madness, utter madness, and they need to. Again, like Jacob was saying about the events to events, I don't believe, apart from Legacy, which technically speaking is their relaunch rather than an event, this is the first time we've never had, and don't forget next summer we've got coming. I don't think there's been an announcement yet of anything like that, because Secret Empire went into the Dark Reign, or whatever Dark Reign went into Civil War. Every time it finishes, like, there's plot. This is the first time I've actually think for a good 10 years or so there hasn't been another event mentioned that's going to be the best thing ever. So,
everyone becomes Venom.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Venomverse. And isn't there a storyline going through the X-Men books too?
Yeah, and that's fine, and that's great. The idea that you can have if the X-Men books stay within their thing and they do a little crossover in the Venomverse things, the Venomverse is I believe it's a little miniseries, little spin-offs that make it here and there, and that may obviously impact in stuff. But it's not something that's literally you must buy this, because if you don't buy this bit, this has got the teaser for the next massive event coming next month.
Right.
Yeah, weird. I don't know. I'm bewildered. I am utterly bewildered what Marvel are doing. I really do not get my head around it.
I'm going to say for my things they did right was their marketing of this in the beginning, because nobody saw that Hail Hydra Cap moment coming.
Oh, that was good. Exactly. Yeah, the idea you can keep saying that a secret is quite impressive.
You know, things they did bad. Obviously, I'm going to go with a lot of what was said, but you know, reset to zero. You know, the story didn't matter. So why, if it's not going to affect the ongoing narrative? I mean, some of the renegade school teachers, you know, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, I think Marvel's greatest problem is the same that DC had for quite a while. Is that you have the same characters that have been around for ages, and they're just retelling the same stories over and over again. And new readers might be interested in this, but you're losing your longtime readers to guys like Marvin, who are telling new and engaging stories. To guys like, you know, the guys over at Valiant, or even our friends over at Action Lab, who are telling fun, engaging stories. You know, new twists on old themes. You know, that's what we want to see for longtime fans. I mean, if they're not going to give us that, we're going to go someplace else. Thumbs up, thumbs down. You know, with every event, Marvel loses a little piece of me to someone else, and I'm going to have to say thumbs down. The only thing I think that would have made this better would be to have the Beyonder come back in his tracksuit.
Yeah.
with that high 1980s collar.
Yeah.
You know, that I don't know. It's going to be kind of rough. Yeah. So now that we've dissected this, let's go back through the panel. Marvin, what are you reading right now?
Well, since you brought up Action Lab, I just did the other day, got my Stray books from Vito for the Kickstarter, and that's what I'm reading now. And I'm reading Scott Eos Weldon's Harlan Buck. Excellent book. Excellent book. If you haven't picked it up yet, he's doing some really great things on the Conan theme that I'm really enjoying. It's a really good book. As far as the mainstream books, I'll probably get Legacy, and that's a wrap. I did get Robotech. Robotech is good, really good, from Titan.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. They rebooted the whole entire Robotech line. So I think they're up to issue 3 now. So issue 1 did the Zentradi invasion after the SDF-1 crash. So they just now got the Rick Hunter just got into his Veritech and crashed it. So that's where they at issue 1. It's good.
Nice. Is it anime style, or is it more American?
It's American style. It's a little mix of both. But you can, it's American style, but you can see the anime influence in the art.
Oh God, I'm such a Robotech fan.
Yeah.
Crap.
Oh yeah, I had forgot it was coming out, and I actually stopped by the local store, and I saw it. It's like, oh crap, I forgot Robotech, and I had to pick it up, and it's really good.
That means I'm going to have to skip coffee tomorrow, so I have room in the wallet for another issue. Crap. Jacob, what are you reading right now?
Let's see. I'm continuing to read DC's Aquaman because it continues to be excellent. I am reading the Amy Chu run of Red Sonja, where she's in the modern day, and that's been pretty fun. I just picked up the first issue of the new Matt Wagner Mage series. It is the third Mage series. So, and you know, been 20 years since the previous one.
Right. I only saw a couple of articles on it. That came out of nowhere. I was very surprised by that. How is it? Okay. I think it takes place maybe I want to say 10 or 12 years after the previous the run in the 90s. Things have been quiet for Kevin Matchstick, and
He's been leading a relatively normal life with his wife, and they have a kid, and things have now found him, and he's pretty pissed about that.
So he's got to throw some sorcery down to voice his displeasure.
And apparently, the mage, he hasn't seen or heard from the mage since the old series.
Interesting. Nice. Aid, what are you reading right now? I think we broke Aid.
No, hello. Okay, so I just was thinking, what the hell am I reading right now? That's a very good question. So I've had to just go for a stack of comics to actually figure out what I'm actually reading. Okay, so I just got my Stray stuff come through as well, so that was very, very cool. So I have that catch up, and it had the Action Lab crossover miniseries, which was an absolute arse to get in the UK. So I decided to plump for the trade. I think the best thing I'm reading at the moment, because I'm dropping some DC books, is the Batman War of Jokes and Riddles is fantastic. The last issue with the Kite Man interlude was bloody brilliant, absolutely spectacular. I'm really enjoying the Commandy book. I have Mr. Miracle 1 to read, but haven't read it yet, and it's apparently very, very good. Really loving Doom Patrol, really loving Cave Carson. But apart from that, I've just been buying Bronze Age omnibuses. I've now got the Doom Patrol last one, and now on my Adam Strange omnibus that came through the other day as well. And I'm enjoying them more than anything at the moment. That's probably
those have been pretty fun.
They are brilliant. They're just so ridiculously stupid. That it's great. It just because you don't have to think about it too much. It's like, okay, what's happened, Adam? Well, we're being attacked by a giant killer planet. Okay, right, done. It's no like, oh, is this, yeah. So that's nice. It's nice to read something that's just kind of crazy and different.
Yeah.
But the next one I've got on order is the Swamp Thing Bronze Age omnibus, which is apparently next month. So, and then the Commandy one after that, but that's been pushed back to March next year. So that's a bit of a pisser. But yeah, apart from that, that's it. Still reading BPRD Hellboy stuff. Yeah, it's. I'm having a bit of an issue trying to find anything good at the moment that's actually really hitting the spot. But Batman, I think, is probably the best thing that DC's putting out that I'm reading anyway. So
let me just throw a plug out there. If you're dropping books, I would be very happy to send you a free copy of The Edge.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Okay, cool.
I would love to read that.
Yeah, I just literally just dropped Justice League America and Justice League because again the stories don't feel like they're impacting. It seems to be like they get wrapped up in 3 or 4 issues and then nothing really counts. When it was New 52 DC and you had that was the core book. They'd be bringing in Doom Patrol, they'd be bringing in the other characters to learn, and they had the Forever Evil crossover, and that kind of mixed in with JLA, and it was the core book of the DC universe. And now it's just like some stuff happens. Yeah, what happened? Nothing really. No.
Well, do you think they're trying to keep it status quo for the movie?
That wouldn't surprise me. DC don't tend to play up to the movie going thing as Marvel do, because Marvel literally as soon as anything's got a bloody a movie or a TV appearance, it's on every single issue going, isn't it? So oh my God, the Inhumans, okay, 19 Inhumans books, let's get them all out there. So it's possible. I'm not too sure. I don't know. Just Justice League. This is the second time I think I've been buying Justice League since the old JLI and JLA era, so very long time. And this is the only second time I've ever cancelled the Justice League. And the first time was when they did the 2-issue Justice League Spectaculars after the JLI stuff finished, and the bad guys they fought in that were the Raw Flash Gang. And I thought, what the hell? This is not the Justice League enemies. They should be fighting big things, not some pathetic people running around on playing cards. Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, just hit me up on Facebook and drop me your address, and I'll be happy to get something in the mail for you.
Will do. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it.
And if you guys want to take a quick look through Marvin's Toy Box, you can go on to Drive-Thru Comics now and get their handbook of the Edge universe, the Edge source book. Gorgeous book. I mean, just the wraparound cover that you did for that was fantastic. Very, very nicely done.
One comic I forgot to mention. In the continuation of the Future Quest series, they have started a Space Ghost in Future Quest. He is apparently trying to restart the Galaxy League, of which he is the last member, but he needs to get special materials that are only found on the planet of the Herculoids in order to make them.
I forgot about that. I have that coming this week, hopefully. So yeah, very cool. I love Space Ghost. Space Ghost is fantastic. So,
and it's got this gorgeous painted art all throughout it. It's beautiful.
Very cool.
Nice. So real quick, if you guys are still looking to throw money to Marvel because you love your abusive relationships, you should really consider picking up their Star Wars line. They're doing such great things in those books. Star Wars, the Darth Vader book, has relaunched and started with a new era. Just really fantastic as far as the story goes. Very engaging. New characters are being brought in that expand the lore. It's just characters like Dr. Aphra, who are evil Indiana Jones, in space, is just fantastic. But I was talking up Valiant earlier, and right now they got two flagship kind of events going on, and unlike Marvel, where they're giant industry spanning, you need to get 50 books to figure out what's going on. These are all self-contained in their own issues, so that you pick up what you want and so forth and so on. But Secret Weapons has been really good. One of the main characters, Livewire, finds out about a secret holding facility where these kids were being experimented on by one of the major villains of the Valiant universe. Has just been really, really fantastic. On the other side of the house, going into more of the mysterious, magic-y stuff, you got Rapture, which deals with many of the mystical sides of the Valiant universe. And you can't forget their flagship, Exo Manowar, and which has basically restarted the line. And imagine the TV show Vikings, and then give them Iron Man power armor and set it on another planet right now. And that's the storyline of the current Exo, and it's just been really fantastic. So, I mean, if you guys are out and looking for another big company to check out, where plot lines actually matter, and you can trace the history back, because you're only going back 3 years, 5 years. 2012, I believe they started. They're doing some pretty great stuff. But I mean, you also got, always reading Marvin stuff. Every time Marvin drops something on Facebook, it's almost like a Bruce Lee reaction to a punch. It's like, must share this picture, So I mean, it's that's Marvin stuff is really good. Reading a lot of the indie stuff that's come out, like Salvagers just relaunched their Kickstarter. So Salvagers, the last issue of their Wreck Raiders volume just came out. Jacob, you saw the other day, Star Power. Have you read through the entire webcomic?
I have not read through the entire webcomic. I'm on chapter 3 right now, limited time and all. But once I posted it, a bunch of my friends read through it real quick, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm so glad you pointed me to that. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
I was about to comment, Secret Weapons. That's the series by Eric Heiser.
Yes. Yep. Eric Heiser.
He's the guy who wrote Arrival. He's actually from here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
He several people from my gaming group. I don't know him myself, but several people from my gaming group used to game with him.
Really?
Mm.
That's pretty interesting. It's just a really fun book. good tie-in to kind of bring in people who are kind of curious about, because right now the whole Valiant universe is kind of like, it's kind of like, like how bullies used to like play games when they were kids. How hard can you hit me in the stomach? Okay, ready? And it's like all these different factions in the Valiant universe are starting to recoalesce after the last big thing. And it's like you can see somebody's getting ready to throw that punch and the other person's holding their breath getting ready. And that's kind of what Secret Weapons is. It's like a building book, and it's really fantastic.
It sounds a lot like the build-up when the CrossGen universe was just starting.
Yes, just really, really good. But I mean, there's so much positive stuff outside of the big two, with the exception of Star Wars. But I mean, that's more Disney than Marvel.
But some people are saying that they, in the charts for sales, they should remove the Star Wars from that, because technically speaking, it's not part of the Marvel universe. So it's just like, hey, it's always going to be number 2 and number 3. Well, of course, it's bloody Star Wars, for Christ's sake. Yeah, whatever. But I was just going to say, you said about Valiant. Do you think Valiant does so well because of the lack of having to go back through 50 years of continuity, 80 years of continuity, or whatever? Is it because they can tell stuff fresh rather than going, oh crap, okay, what do we do with Captain America this week? Damn it, we've done all that already. Yeah,
and I think a big thing with Valiant is the fact that they want their stuff to matter. Like in there was a big thing that happened recently in there's a group in Valiant Comics called the Harbingers.
Yeah.
And right now there's a group that kind of opposes them, the Renegades. And Harbinger Renegades number 5, they had a situation happen, and something big happened. And the owner of the company of Valiant has gone on record as saying, this is a permanent thing. You will never see this go back to zero. This is the way it is. And even like in 2014, I believe it was, 2014, 2015, somewhere around there, they had this event called Armor Hunters, where their flagship character, Exo Manowar, is basically wearing a living suit of powered armor. But this group, the Armor Hunters, sees these armors as like a blight on the universe, and their whole goal is to wipe them out. Find everyone, track them down, wipe them out before they do what they're really intended to do. And as a part of that storyline, Mexico City was destroyed. In the current issues, when they're talking about different things and they reference, hey, remember Mexico City? It's still destroyed. They're still in the process of not even rebuilding. They're still in the process of sifting through rubble. That's how messed up it is. So, I mean, to have stuff like that, to have fresh characters like Ninjak, which is kind of like Batman meets James Bond, Bruce Lee, and then, to have characters come in and then out of books. I heard a great interview the other day that said one of the things that makes this company really breathe to their readers is the fact that they don't have, I have the shield guy and I have the hammer guy and this is the guy that shoots fire. It's not that kind of storytelling for superhero mythology. Instead, it's this book is superheroes doing spy shit. This book is like alien invasion shit, but with superheroes. And then this book, these guys are all immortals, but this is like a buddy cop drama, and it's each book, even though it's still guys in tights, they have their own, it has its own feel. So which was the formula that the Marvel movies used, and which is why they're so successful. Ant-Man's the heist film. Captain America is the bastion of liberty. You got Thor, which is like, aliens, gods, and magic. All those kind of.
So the crazy thing being is, you said Ant-Man, right? Ant-Man could be a very good book if it was a guy on the run with Ant-Man powers.
Right.
You could do stories like that all the while. Where's that? That's not even materialized. But you were saying the thing you were saying about Exo Manowar, him being trapped on another planet and having this right. this is the difference between Marvel and Valiant. Okay, Exo Man of War goes to another planet, does his thing, right? World War Hulk goes to another planet, does his thing, comes back home, and then people realize they really like World War Hulk, so we bring in Scar because people like World War Hulk. I can't see Valiant doing, hey, it's Exo Kid of War, he's coming along as well. It's just this is the difference. They have got a kind of like a actual, they know what they're doing, and they're not trying to milk it for everything it's got. It's like, hey, remember that was really popular, let's bring out 9 of them then because that was really popular. They will stay with it, and this is the thing between Marvel and the other people. They don't do that,
and they're really and the quality of the books, not just in the writing but also the art. I mean, here's the cover to Ninjak 27, right? It's gorgeous. I mean, it's just you just sit there and you say to yourself, you know, all the care and the detail that went into that, you know, all of the production value. Like when you pick up these Exo Manowar books, this isn't just like standard. We were just talking about Exo Kid of War.
Yeah, I was gonna say the last stuff I saw was the preview pages of, what made me be really surprised, was the preview pages of Bloodshot Island with all the pencil work in there. I mean, it's like, my God, that's just spectacular. That is absolutely gorgeous artwork.
Right, but I mean, this book, this is cardstock.
Yeah,
shiny cardstock. You pick it up and you feel like you could bludgeon somebody with this book. You know, so I mean, they're doing good stuff, and I don't think they're getting enough. I don't think they're getting enough exposure because Marvel keeps going, "Hail Hydra," you know. But I mean, just the fact that you got the Green Ranger from back in the '90s, Jason David Frank, is going to be playing Bloodshot in the upcoming web series. I don't know who they're going to cast in the actor for. They're going to be doing a Bloodshot movie.
Mm-hmm.
To launch a Valiant cinematic line, so I don't know who that actor is, but you guys ever see the Bat in the Sun videos?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I love those.
You should immediately go out and just do some research.
They get really good professional models and cosplayers to do their actor bits, and so they get really nice looking people to do those, you know, death battles and whatnot.
Yeah, so it's basically like, what if the Punisher and the Joker squared off, and they get two actors to show it off? You know,
I think, if bringing that point to that, my favorite one was Wolverine and Wonder Woman. When
that
Wolverine,
was awesome.
Wolverine tells her, "I want to play my favorite game, just a tip."
That's terrible.
That was good. I really loved Wolverine versus the Predator.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. Captain America versus the Master Chief from Halo was fantastic. Fantastic.
Some of them get a little weird though. You know, like Gandalf versus Darth Vader.
Have you seen the Batman versus Darth Vader?
Batman versus Darth Vader was excellent.
Oh my God! And then you got the alternate ending one. Seriously, Aid, we have to do a show. let's just what do you call it? We'll get a bunch of guys together, watch all of them, and then come back and do a show about that one.
Although I really liked that White Power Ranger against the Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. That was fun.
Right. So but yeah, if you're looking for something bigger, you know, than an independent, a true independent, and you're looking for really high production values, I can definitely suggest Valiant. Starting with like Exo Manowar or like Ninjak or something like that.
Although I gotta say, looking at that Ninjak cover, someone stole from me.
It's true. It's true. You might want to check for webcams periodically through your house. Show it up. Go.
That one right there. That's all me.
Oh my God, is that a Starfinder image?
No, that was an image I did for a Pathfinder setting called the Varanthia Codex that was released by Rogue Genius Games.
Nice. Nice. Well, gentlemen, we're at the 1 hour mark. We're pretty much going to wrap things up. Marvin, parting thoughts.
Parting thoughts is I'm really glad that Captain America is Captain America again, and he hopefully won't be doing Hell Hydra ever again. And I hope they learned from their mistake on this one.
Well, that we can only hope. If people want to come and chase you around the internet and pick up your comics, where can they do that?
So you can find me on Twitter at Marvin Wynn. Find me always on Facebook, Marvin Wynn. On the Facebook page for The Edge is the.edge.comic, or you can find me at www.theedgecomic.com. Come on past and check us out.
Right on, right on. Jacob, people want to stalk you on the internet and pick up your stuff. Where can they do that?
I'm usually available on Facebook. That's where I'm most at. I have Twitter, but I'm not on there that often. But if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Jacob Blackman. Otherwise, yeah, mostly Facebook. I've got a DeviantArt page as well. DeviantArt, prodigyduck.deviantart.com. And for my own promotion, I just released the Superpowered Legends Adventure Disaster Day, which is my first published RPG adventure for Mutants Masterminds 3rd edition. So I just want to plug that little bit and say, everyone buy it, because I would like to make it popular so I can write the next one.
Right on. Aid, stalking, selling. What are we doing?
I'm on Twitter as MonkeyXUK. That's about it at the moment. I'm doing some more Star Trek stuff for the Star Trek Adventures gubbins, doing some more layouts, doing some artwork. And my other thing I would say, if this goes out in time, which hopefully it will do, is if you are into RPGs, go and check out the Hurricane Harvey bundle we've got up on there for Fate and Goat Games. $400 worth of RPGs for $25. And I believe Mike said we have just hit $12,000, I think, as of this afternoon, I believe. So
actually, I talked to him a little while ago.
Yeah,
it's a lot higher than
there
that.
you go. Fantastic. So we are exceeding our last count. So yeah, if you go on there, take a look and see what we can do.
Nice. Well, gentlemen, I can't thank you enough for coming out to smash that storyline with Mjolnir's hammer or with Thor's hammer. So,
hammer.
Yeah, right. So, on behalf of the BAMF podcast, Mike Lafferty, and my fantastic guest tonight, this has been Walt and the BAMF podcast, and we're out.